you doing?
Hey.
Cintron, how you doing?
Doing great.
Hey, Miss
How are
Keggy,
you?
good. How you doing there, Miss Clydes?
Amazing.
Hey, we're all here? Oh, Miss Maynard, good seeing you, all right.
You have to sit in the front.
So today we're gonna talk about root causes that impact student achievement. And then we're gonna talk about some of these climate-destroying behaviors that take place. But before we do that, let's get started with a word of prayer. Lord, we thank you for this day. I thank you for just the ability to teach, Father, for our students that we have come in our classroom every day, Father. I pray that we would be good stewards. I pray that you would help us to be attentive and encouraging to them. And we ask all these things in your name. Amen. So we're getting ready. Summer is just around the corner. And I want you guys to tell me, is there anything that sticks in your mind growing up, what you did as a teenager or student, middle school, elementary, high school, that you look forward to everything in the summer that you do with your traditions that you had with your family? Go for it.
We would always take a trip down to Virginia, North Carolina, those areas, and just have times with family, visiting other family members. Every once in a while, I'll come down to Florida, but yeah.
Okay.
I'm from Michigan.
Okay. And where are you originally from?
Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah.
Originally from Michigan. Got two from Michigan. Okay, cool. So you would come down to Florida?
Yeah, sometimes to visit my other family.
Warmer weather.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember lots of neat family trips up to see my grandmother and the extended family up in Pennsylvania. But I really remember like camping trips just with my folks and piling that car full. We had this big, huge old canvas tent that went all the way across the back seat of the old Nova. And Carolyn and I, my sister, would have to sit on top of it and that kind of thing. So lots of fun memories that way. But to be honest, when the end of the school year was nearing, I just wanted to go home and sleep.
That's
And
it.
get up whenever I wanted
Kinda
to
crash.
and eat whenever.
Absolutely.
I just
Okay.
wanted to chill
Okay.
at first.
And were those
And then I
camping
wanted to
trips
be
like
adventurous.
week-long camping trips?
Yep.
We did week-long, okay. Good,
Usually.
very cool. Mrs.
We
Murray?
would always go to Niagara Falls every year for a few, like a long weekend or something like that.
And how far away is that from Michigan? I mean, as far as?
Well, for us, it was about 4 hours, I
Okay.
think. You didn't have all of the border issues, so we.
Did you go to check to Canada?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's.
Cool. Wow. Okay. Sorry.
Well, we did all different kinds of things each
And you're from,
summer.
I think we've got everybody from up north right here. I'm the southern boy, so I'm south, okay.
Yeah, so we would go camping, we would go down to Florida, we would go anywhere there, maybe where there was family, we would stay with them and be with them.
Right. Did anybody take trips to Disney World?
Yep.
Disney World?
I did
No?
one summer.
Okay.
Yeah. California did.
California.
Yeah.
Okay, I've never been to Disneyland, so I'm sure that's pretty cool.
My dad's family was from California,
From
so
there.
like 3 times.
Oh, wow. I'd like to make that trip. Check it out. Ms. Cintron?
Me, living in an island, coming from Puerto Rico, we just travel around the island, going to the beach all over the island, and doing things that you cannot do during the year,
Right.
Relaxation, sleeping, going to the movies, spending time with
Now, would you go
friends.
with family, like cousins and aunts and uncles? Would you
Yes,
guys go off
with
to
the
the beach?
family. Mhm.
Okay, good. I can remember, now, we didn't take too many trips. We'd go to Hagerstown, Maryland every once in a while. That's where my grandfather was from. But I specifically remember the last day of school, my father would take me to lunch, a special lunch, whatever it might be, and take me to a movie.
Right.
And I kind of continue the same tradition with my kids, just doing the same thing, and do that. Well, I've got something for you guys. I know you guys are raring to go, and I'll go slowly.
Thank you, sir.
When I say the term, causes that impact student achievement, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when I say root causes that impact student achievement? What's the first thing that just comes off the top of your head?
Family stress.
Family stress, absolutely.
Laziness.
What's that?
Laziness.
Laziness, family stress. I mean, what are some of the factors that it seems like students cannot get through those root causes? It's like a big stop sign or a big yield sign, and they just can't push through it. What are some things? So we've got family stress, we've got laziness.
Maybe just general difficulty of the subject.
Difficulty subject.
How about not having learned the building blocks to get to this point?
Absolutely. Remediation is sometimes necessary. Anything you guys can think of? I've got a few written down there. The first one that you come to is, it says student population has changed. And when I say that term student population has changed, I was talking to Mr. Spain last week, and we were going over just our student body, how the population's changed, and we think that young people come into kindergarten, right, knowing how to write their name, come into kindergarten knowing their numbers, and we're finding out in K-5 that that's not the case. They can't, most of the time, he says, they can't even count to 10.
Wow.
And they have, some of them have a difficulty even writing their own name or can't spell their own name, and that's in kindergarten. So if that's, you know, and we think back years ago, I don't remember, you're in school, we can't think all the way back to kindergarten, but think back some of the basic fundamentals that you learned that was just automatic, right? We take that for granted. So we have definitely student population has changed. The next one is staff turnover. There's a high rate of staff turnover, and that can create some inconsistency, right? If you have teachers, whether it be elementary, middle, or high school, that are leaving every 1 year, 2 years, it's very difficult to have that continuity and that consistency to do that. So that creates, those are impact student achievement for sure. Students may not have mastered the English language. That's another one. We are not a big ESL school. We don't have a lot of foreign students here. I remember years ago we had Jiyun here, and I'm trying to think of all the students. We had a student from Germany. We had these students from different schools, right? Different countries, which was great. I don't think that really is too difficult here at school. And that's a plus for sure. But student attendance is another one. Student attendance.
Wow, yeah.
There is a direct correlation for students missing lots of school, you know. We're not just talking a day every 9 weeks, we're talking 10, 15 days, and then it continues to go on. And now we ask the students to not come back, or we ask them to leave the school. But that is a huge factor, because you think of all those skill gaps those students have missed, right? And you've got to go back, oh, well, come to help class, or come, and then they might not come to help class, right? And they get further and further and further behind as a result of that. The last one on this list is class size. Class size. Now, we're blessed here at First Coast Christian that our class size, I think, what's your biggest class size? What's your biggest class? 10, good.
17.
17? 20?
Like
18?
I've got a really small class size this year.
Okay. So, but
It's not my fault.
but think of it. I remember.
I think it might change next year. I
Yeah.
know it will.
I remember for sure we had class size of early on, it was about 30 students, 31 students, and it was packed. And they tried to cap it off at 25, 28 students. But one year it was really, really packed. So that, we're blessed in the fact that we have a smaller class size, and that's a big selling point to parents. Now we're going to turn on to, and this is in direct relation to the root causes that impact student achievement for sure. But there's these 7 climate-destroying behaviors that negatively impact student achievement. The first one is saying too much or saying too little. Saying too much or saying too little can actually sabotage student learning. And as you notice, by each one of these, I've got like a negative and a positive sign. Negative and a positive, something kind of we can correct. The first one, it says this can really destroy student-teacher relationships in an instant. Don't be a teacher that kind of blurts out. And this was very eye-opening to me as I went over this. Don't be a teacher that blurts out disparaging remarks. The next one is not just disparaging remarks, but we can also be very, and this is, I'm guilty of being very sarcastic, right? Sarcastic. very sarcastic. We think of anger, right? Everybody has bad days sometimes, right? And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a second, but everybody can definitely become angry at that. This, I'm sorry. Let me get this real quick. I have another one here. I don't know what happened to that one. Oh, sorry.
This is our paper.
Good.
Right, go back. I'm losing pens, which is.
Oh, one more? One more?
This is no, this
Okay.
is okay.
TV timeout. TV timeout here, guys.
Oh, what's jingling?
She gave this to me.
Perfect.
She gave this to me. Remember you gave this to me about
I
2 or
did,
3 years ago?
I didn't even where I got it from. Pencil is fine.
I think you should give her the jingly one.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So saying too much or saying too little can actually sabotage student learning. We can sometimes unfortunately have disparaging remarks. Sarcasm actually can be a factor. Guilty as charged, I will say that for sure. Anger. And this last one is so true. We need to remember, don't remind students of their past mistakes. And I don't know if you remember last time, I was talking to students this year, and I talked about what is called the garbage can technique. You guys remember that? What the garbage can technique is? You think of the garbage can, right? And I've told students, maybe students confide in one another, right? And they trust one another, and they confide in one another. As a result of that, they might tell them something really personal, and all of a sudden the friendship breaks up, right? And what happens? They take that garbage out and they kind of spread it all over the place, right? I don't think we, as teachers, we would do that, but I think that we need to learn not to remind students of their past mistakes. But here's positive news. We should, with saying too much or saying too little, we should give constructive criticism, and we need to do everything that we can to be insightful and encouraging. Insightful and encouraging. Number 2, student fear caused by rejection. Think about this. Have you had students that come into your classroom on day 1 and they are not just new students, they might be new students to our school, but you can see the look on their face, and there is terror and there is fear. What are some things that cause that terror or fear for students?
Well, will it be accepted?
Will they be accepted? Okay.
The subject itself.
Okay, subject itself.
Not knowing what